the war on poverty that started back in the 60s and LBJ's efforts to help the poor and the impoverished. And what we saw in Austin is that the people were becoming more aware of the situation, especially economic situation. And we saw a need for a Chamber of Commerce to try to inspire people to start businesses and to invigorate the Hispanic community, economic development, and so on. And
you know, at first we were Mexican-American Chamber of Commerce. I mean, so we need to make that clear. This was strictly a Mexican-American endeavor. And we have to look at what was happening with the Mexican-American community. During the 60s, there was a great awakening. The power that we actually had. And I think in Austin, it culminated with the economy furniture strike that gave a sense of power to the community. And as an end result, at the 70s, when the chamber started, we started seeing elected officials, Mexican-American elected officials, such as Gus Garcia, who was and is very active in the Chamber of Commerce, John Trevino, who is being honored tonight, Richard Moya, Gonzalo Barrientos, and they, as a result, opened doors for many Mexican Americans to come and work in the prospective agencies that they represented.
When I first heard about it, I thought it was a great idea, so I joined right away. Gabe and George Villalba were two of the ones that I remember were some of the first that were very active with the chamber, along with a few others. And I became very active since then. At that time, there were very few minority businesses in Austin. And as somebody previously said, it was the Mexican-American Chamber of Commerce. So primarily it was an advocacy group. And the reason for being an advocacy group is because we Mexican-Americans were invisible in this town. If you walked into a bank, if you walked into a department store, if you walked into any business, you did not see a Mexican-American anywhere. We were just invisible. So the chamber became at first as an advocacy group, and to change that around. And we would get involved in political races, local political races, get the politicians committed to making sure that more Mexican Americans were hired in their businesses and in their offices, government offices. And after a few years, then the chamber decided to become involved primarily in business, economic endeavors. But it was originally an advocacy group to try to change the status quo of that time, which is about 50 years ago.
Well, those were exciting times. You know, it was the nation was in conflict. There was an unpopular war. There were rising movements, social movements, and we as Mexican Americans were trying to establish an identity. We didn't have political power. We didn't have political capital. And most important, we didn't have credit. You know, some of us were starting businesses. We were having trouble getting attention from the banks. And so there was an urgent need to get those new businesses and new political leaders in some organization to establish our business position.
I think it's important because it brings attention to the needs of our community. It emphasizes the needs that we have to develop the economic portion or aspect of our community.
I think the chamber, I see it as a very strong voice to advocate for the needs of the Latino community, be it in education, be it where there may be discrimination, be it in fostering opportunities for business men and women to sell their products, to meet others, to network, to open emerging markets in Latin America and in other countries where our business men and women in Austin can participate in that economy.
Because it gets a lot of people that have many talents, a good education, together to try to move on issues that involve our community.
In any free and democratic society, you have to, in order for you to be viable, you have to have adequate representation. In the business community, the chamber is the most effective vehicle for that type of representation.
I think the Chamber of Commerce, Hispanic Chamber of Commerce is very necessary, particularly for the inspiration of younger people nowadays.
Well, I think the future of the Hispanic community is extremely bright. There is a growing market in the Central Texas area, not just Austin, but Central Texas area, in which we are having a lot more now, being more inclusive. We're now more Latino, more Hispanic, of all nationalities.
I think the Chamber has a very bright future. It now has around 1,000 members, a very active board, very active staff, and right now we have I'm fortunate I'm the chairman of the, I feel very honored to be the chairman of the capital campaign for the Chamber to buy its own building. And we have very good prospects right now of acquiring at our own building. Primarily, I see a lot of young people with a lot of talent, with a lot of drive, that it excites me. It really motivates me. It energizes me when I see all this talent that has come about that was not here 40 or 50 years ago.
Hopefully, it's a good future. The world has become very competitive. Where in the beginning we were unrepresented. Today we're on the verge of becoming a major demographic group, and so the Chamber has an important position in trying to establish a role in the political world. In the new globalization of the business world, it's become very important for you to have the right type of representation. The vision of a good chamber would be one that would be involved in the greater trade enterprise of the globalization process.